Cardinale Stadium is shimmering on this beautiful September Wednesday night. Monterey Bay welcomes San Diego Loyal, and tonight's match is presented by Coastal Roots Hospitality. Welcome everybody, joined by Ricky Lopez-Aspin, Mike Watts on hand. Look at the Western Conference, where San Diego is 2 points from Phoenix and home playoff position. Monterey Bay just 1 point clear of the line, and El Paso, but just 3 points away from San Diego in 5th place. And Ricky, if you look at how the last month has played out since the news that San Diego would leave the league at the end of the season, merely 7 points out of 5 games, while Monterey Bay has gone streaking to win 4 in a row.
And we'll start with Monterey Bay. It starts on the defensive side of the ball for Frank Yallop. How do we keep the ball out of our own net? Because that guaranteed us 1 point, and then we have our game changers high up the field to produce that little bit of individual brilliance. But we had the chance to talk to Nate Miller, and we asked about the mentality for the group, and he said, look, we have a lot of unknowns for players understanding what's the next step, and we had the ability just to talk openly, and by that, we've been struggling as of late. But again, massive game here on the road at Monterey Bay, who cannot put a foot wrong at this point in time.
And if you're Monterey Bay, you're looking at Rafael Baca to continue to be the guy who settles things. He's done it now for 7 games.
And he's going to sit right in front of that back four to dictate tempo from left to right. He has a sense of calmness, a sense of security. Very good at picking and choosing when to speed things up, but also when to slow things down. His relationship between him and Murphy needs to be very good here for Frank Yallop on home.
The Monterey Bay battle in midfield will be teed up against Charlie Adams of San Diego, who does a little bit of everything.
And I asked Nate Miller who's going to be the player that's going to really take that impact at the back end of the season. He said, quick, Charlie Adams. He's going to be that special player playing in between holes, picking and choosing when to join the attack, but also when to drop down and do his defensive abilities. He has to have a very good rhythm between him, Martin, and Corona. How good can Charlie Adams be here tonight?
All right, Adams against Baca, San Diego against Monterey. Fans filling in here at Cardinale Stadium. We'll show you the lineups and get you ready for kickoff when we return. Tonight's match presented by Coastal Roots Hospitality. Monterey Bay and San Diego after these messages and a word from your local station.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Montrio, Tarpe's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Let's take a look at the lineup for Frank Yallop and Monterey Bay here tonight. And they've made no changes from a 3-2 win against Las Vegas.
Now you have to look at that top line. Hugo Okoli, he's going to stay high. He's going to occupy the center backs for San Diego Loyal. And then you have Alex Dixon and Sam Guido join the attack as you see fit, running in behind this back line for San Diego and try to stretch the opposition so you get Murphy and you get Baca on the ball in the half spaces to pick and choose when to move the ball from left to right. And if you're Frank Yallop, that back line needs to stay compact and keep everything in front of them.
Moshaban and Guido slip out for San Diego. They brought in Charlie Adams and Ronaldo Damas under Nate Miller.
I do think you talk about that front line, Evan Conway and Ronaldo Damas. What does that relationship look like? Conway's going to play a bit more central, so you're going to see Damas make those runs from outside in, but it all comes down to that middle 3. Adams, Martin, Corona. What does that relationship look like? How comfortable can they be on the ball to get in a rhythm? Because they can be a game changer for this San Diego Loyal side. You look at Stoneman, he can step into that middle third and break lines with this passing lane. For Nate Miller, the first 10 to 15 minutes to weathering this storm is going to be really important.
There is San Diego Loyal, and there's the aforementioned Ronaldo Damas. 7 goals in 25 games. He started now exactly half his appearances. San Diego will get the first touch here tonight. This is a true 6-point September game. From Seaside, California, it is San Diego Loyal away to Monterey Bay on this Wednesday night. Late September, a little chill in the air, a little extra in the standings. Loud start from the Monterey Bay fans. We'll see how loud a start this is for Monterey Bay themselves. You know, we talk about how determined they've been defensively of late, and yet Frank Yallop was quick to say, but not really against Las Vegas. Great game for fans, not for the coach.
It was just box defending that was lacking for Monterey Bay. You look at the goals that Las Vegas scored.
Bodily early, and that's well defended by a sliding Kai Green.
It was interesting because he also went a step further, saying we switched into a 3-back position. You bring in Lara next to Green and Roberts, and it really plays to their strength. So again, that 3-back, how compact can they be? And then you have Martinez and Donor to make that line of 5 across the back for the home side.
Carlos Guzman and Colque Vegas. Turned over. Alex Dixon has been stuck on 11 goals. He's near the Golden Boot lead. He's watched a handful of Western Conference foes jump him of late. They want to see good runs out of those wingers to really get the best out of Ugo Okoli tonight.
Talk about the discipline and the composure on that front line. Ugo is going to play centrally, so how do you stretch the opposition to unbalance this back line?
Baca slipping ahead. Galidal pulled away by San Diego and up through Conway. Donor to throw. And will send Hugh Roberts trailing back as this finds Carlos Herrera. Baca, 6 trophies at Cruz Azul. Got the Supporters Shield under Frank Yallop's leadership in San Jose. That's a pretty fly jacket for the 4th, huh? We're at that time of year where we start to see a different fashion choice.
100%. I need to get my hands on one of those.
Dip out. You and I chatted with Nate Miller, and regrettably, I think the first talking point and the first question that he gets asked more often than not, how are the guys doing right now? Baca steps in to win it back for Monterey Bay. The fans uninitiated, San Diego will move their franchise rights out of San Diego at the end of the season. Much ballyhooed MLS side set to come eventually. But whatever success they have, and that of San Diego Wave, you could say pro soccer, as Okoli was offside, truly was reinvigorated in San Diego by Loyal's presence beginning in that 2020 season. And, you know, it's difficult. We spoke with Frank Yallop, who has such a close relationship with Landon Donovan. They've spoken about it, the head coach for Monterey Bay and the sporting director for San Diego, and the former head coach for Loyal. Is this driven long? Ultimately, he said, for such a great brand and for such great success in the league, it's heartbreaking for Frank Yallop to look at from afar because he went through it a bit in Fresno a few years ago.
I mean, just the unknown, I think, is so interesting, especially from a player's perspective, right? Because you don't know what's your next step. When you had maybe a 2, 3 year, 4 contract year with San Diego, now that gets swept away. So now you're calling your agent and saying, okay, hey, where am I going to go next season? And as much as you don't want to talk about it, you have that in the back of your mind, right? That's affecting the present because you want to have that job security at the end. Yes, it's you play football for a living, right? And you want to have that security. And I do think Nate Miller was quick to point out, say, look, we have the openness to talk about that stuff throughout the players. That's how close we are as a close group net. But again, how do we end the season on the right note? And I do think Nate Miller, the boys in orange here tonight, and the community of San Diego are full force behind the San Diego Loyal side.
They have normalized and kind of tried to allow that balance of looking forward. For what it's worth, Nate Miller said this team still loves being together, and that's pushed them forward here in the tail end of the campaigne. Will inch down the line. And ricochet back out. That's going to stay in for San Diego. Baca is orchestrating in behind. Damas wants it played. And Green put under pressure, and Damas shoved him in the back.
And you highlighted it, Mike. It's just all about the movement from Baca, because so many times as a center midfielder, you rush out and you step off your line and you open up that gap. And that really allows, whether it's Hugh Roberts, Kai Green, or Alex Lara, just to drop off and read the play before it develops. Really good defending effort from Monterey Bay.
Well, it's also a 34-year-old knowing I don't have the wheels to catch that.
And that as well.
But I can definitely tell you where to be.
It's going to be very interesting, that midfield battle, because you have the experience of Baca, thanks to James Murphy, who I think has been terrific since putting on a Monterey Bay jersey. But then you have on the other side maybe one of the most talented midfield trios, which is Joe Corona, Cullen Martin, and Charlie Adams. The rotations, the relationship, the technical ability to pick out a pass in the center of the park for Nate Miller.
Bodley picking out Damas once more, and they're really trying to stretch Monterey Bay at the back. They felt there'd be some space in behind here in this game.
And as they do that, now you're going to start to see Conway getting those half spaces, as well as Adrian Perez. It's all about balance for Nate Miller and the way that you can ask questions of the opposition.
Baca felt the pressure of Conway and coughed it up to Grant Stoneman. Hugh Roberts got a piece, took it away from Perez. Ultimately out for a Koke free kick, another goal kick. Inside 7 minutes. San Diego lost at Louisville last time out. Strong second half in Nate Miller's estimation, with the goal by Wilson Harris in the 5th minute, the difference. Harris now scored in 3 games running, scored earlier tonight. San Diego came directly from Louisville. It's a couple of tough places to fly in and out of, for one, but also they want to get on this field a little bit early. A turf surface might inhibit their on-the-ground passing efforts. Donor took it to the corner, ultimately ran it out under pressure from Bodley. I didn't get a chance to ask Nate if he had gone to wine country with this excursion.
I do think if they take 3 points back,
They might.
Yeah.
They may stop there on the bus, huh?
there you go. Makes that trip back just that little bit of an easier trek.
Colin Martin. Guzman. Bodley. Guzman's 9th appearance for San Diego. Arrived from Querétaro. Into Damas. Did enough to drop it back through Corona from the width. It's still on here for San Diego.
It's just so interesting how they build out. You have Koke Vegas is another center back, so that pushes Riley wide. Adrian Perez centrally, and Joe Corona actually provides you the width on the weak side. It's all about the movement on the front line. Then Thomas pulls out a center back, and then who fills in the gaps?
Conway didn't have a clean look. Instead, it's Bodley. Lines up Donor. Got the cross through. That is a magnificent service. And it's just a few inches high now the other side.
And when you have players that are just so good 1v1 to curate their own space from wide areas, Bodley, he's been massive for the success of Nate Miller. It's that secondary touch to bring in Donor, create that separation, and no one on the back end to get on the end of it. And be very pleased if you're Nate Miller 10 minutes in how you boys have started on the road.
The ball got chipped away and will lead to a Monterey Bay goal kick. Carlos Herrera gets the call for the 15th time, and now he and Siaha have exactly half of the goalkeeping starts this year. Herrera, the elder by just a year, 26 years old. Went from a 25-day deal last year to a season-long contract after Rafael Diaz was injured during the expansion season. Stoneman pushes out. You know, sometimes that's done on purpose. That was not one of those instances. That's not the best touch. San Diego fans are going, tell me about it. Ball in from Conway. Sweeps it aside to Baca. They got numbers forward quick. Adams twisting, and that did take a deflection. Corner.
But how quickly they can turn their defense into offense. Charlie Adams is always first look forward into the path of Ronaldo Damas, and it's off the ball movement, decision making, not on let's recycle, but give credit to James Murphy. Comes across, and you see the touch there on the back end. Lara brave enough to just put his head on it, push it wide. Just so explosive, the San Diego Loyal side.
A replay brought to you by that quirky little potato. Here is a bagel corner kick. In swinging ball, Thomas! Off the mark. What a gaping chance that was for a champion in both League One and the championship with Orange County.
You're always going to expect quality from Charlie Adams on dead ball situations, but it needs to be better. If you're Kai Green or Hugh Roberts, no one closes down the space. You cannot give Ronaldo Damas that real estate 6 yards out. And the striker's going to want that one back. With the quality that he has, he should be putting it on target and asking questions of Herrera.
Bouncing ball through, Gleedle collects. Got Bodley in his pocket. He eventually got it away with the help of Guzman. Domineering header from Roberts. This ball feels live tonight, doesn't it?
Tempo's extremely high. But it's interesting because it's been all one-way traffic for the Loyal here. They're the one putting the pressure on Monterey Bay. I do think we highlighted in the open, if you're Frank Yallop, you want James Murphy and Baca to get on the ball just a tiny bit more and get the confidence within your side.
Perez spotted Adams outside Bodley, and that service is wayward.
And that's that relationship you're talking about centrally. As Perez stays a bit deeper, that gives the license for Charlie Adams to get in behind James Murphy, and Baca. Half pocket, but Bodley lacking just that last bit of quality to put a ball in a dangerous area.
Herrera to put it in play. Monterey Bay. Win pulls them level for 5th with San Diego. Right now, you could argue they're tied between 6th and 8th. Unlike prior years where goal difference or wins was your first tiebreaker, the first tiebreaker this year within your conference, because you play home and away against everybody, is head-to-head. This is real pressure for Monterey Bay. If San Diego can wiggle out of it, they've got some room. They've won a free kick out of it. That's a foul from Lara. A 4th-year league vet who came out of CSUN through Hartford and eventually Las Vegas. Come back out to Cali. Makes it look just so easy.
Just so smooth, so technical.
Riley. Perez played Riley through. He did keep that in long enough for a corner.
I do think for Monterey Bay defensively, you need to be a bit more compact. Yes, you have Coque Vegas playing as that 4th center back, but if that front line goes, that back line needs to be 10 yards at most connected. You open up that space, you just see how good Coque Vegas is as picking out those wide areas, and then it's all about overloads. Movement from an underneath position. Not even Another very dangerous set piece as Charlie Adams is over this ball.
It's a bagel corner kick. Adams snatched by Herrera and whipped out beyond Damas, who had stepped in front of the keeper. Lidl lost his footing.
Instant replay brought to you by Ivan's Baked Potatoes.
I liked how he said it better. I don't think I was wrong.
I like how you say it, Mike.
Okay. I don't know, maybe it's the genetics in me, but for some reason I see that happy Spud and I just can't help but be gleeful. As opposed to Sam, who's gleeful, but nevertheless, Baca. Drops into Conway. Colin Martin will pitch and catch. Stoneman. Riley working down the line admirably here. It's good intervention. Adams broke it up again, but Walmer Martinez back on it. That is a free kick for San Diego. The ball they're going to kick, a Select ball, because Select is the official match ball supplier. The USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. That's Select, the player's choice. Free kick for Adams. He's got to strike a little fear in the defense, seeing him over a ball.
Just his technical ability to hit a ball over 50, 60 yards on a dime. Throw that. Actually, Joe Corona and Colin Martin as well.
Ball through here for Monterey Bay. It briefly got away from Dixon. Works on Riley, left him in the dust. Dixon tees this up. Off the right. Ricochets away. Murphy with a shot that eventually lands gratefully in the hands of Koke Vegas.
But those are the moments that if you're Monterey Bay, how clinical can you be and how decisive when you get to that final third? But if you're James Murphy, you bring out Bodley, you have Hugo Okoli making a very good run as he just peels out. I like to have the shot from distance. You can have that extra pass. You can unlock a lot of real estate to operate in. Going back the other way against this San Diego Loyal side. I do think Nate Miller was very quick to point out that the key was going to be defensive transition. Right at the origin, counter-pressing, creating fouls, not giving them the time and space for Gleedle and Dixon to run in beyond our back line. And so far, besides that last instance, they've been very good in their defensive structure.
Murphy. Donor. This game just doesn't really feel under control through 20 minutes. Okoli lost his footing. Ball through for Damas. Herrera. Now sometimes you get into that pendulum swinging back and forth. This is a car with 6 pistons all firing rapidly. That's a handball.
Just the tempo. It's at an all-time high here. You notice every time the San Diego Loyal, they force a turnover essentially, whether it is Colin Martin or Charlie Adams. Their first look is forward into the path of Ronaldo Damas, who's very good at making those channel runs, splitting this back line. With Monterey Bay, the yes, they want to be expansive. They want to have and provide width. So that leaves them extremely vulnerable going back the other way. So something to keep an eye on if you're Alex Lara, Kai Green, and Hugh Roberts. Being organized when you're in possession is going to be key.
Guzman. That was the trigger for Monterey Bay. Ball comes off Donor. Scoreless here in Monterey Bay. A win for Monterey Bay. They've caught Nate Miller's San Diego side. Win for San Diego, and that top four seems that much clearer. They do have a game in hand on Phoenix. Phoenix playing tonight as well. We'll keep you appraised of that result. They're 3 minutes away from kickoff against Indy 11. Sacramento and New Mexico playing as well. That's affecting both the title race in the West and the playoff line with New Mexico, which is critical to Monterey Bay this evening. Miami putting pressure in the East on the playoff line with their 4-3 win over Louisville, who are suddenly in jeopardy of missing out on a home playoff game. And Southern Harm, Birmingham, and Memphis finished 1-1 tonight, which is right in the middle of the pack in the Eastern playoff field, with Kasim and Aiden McFadden scoring goals in a 4-minute span just out of halftime. This is really the last crazy Wednesday night of the championship campaign. Really all of American soccer takes next Wednesday off. That's the Open Cup final. Houston and Miami. Ball through, and Green put that in the ocean. All of a sudden you're down to the last couple weeks of the year where every coach says, please don't give me a Wednesday then.
And every decision matters as well.
Yep.
Decision making, how many times have we seen teams have the wheels fall off? Or
Baca plays long. Gleedle, he spots Koke off. Gleedle! Sam Gleedle blows the door open for Monterey Bay. Midway point of the first half. And for the moment, Union have caught San Diego.
when we talk about this middle three from the Loyal, you don't need to press them high. You just have to have them force a turnover. And then when you have Baca, the play that we highlighted in the Open, real estate in behind, Frank up one and slam Guido to make those direct runs into the space. And how decisive and how clinical can he be when he gets himself into the attacking 18-yard box? Great first touch to close down the angle. Head up, sees Koke Vegas, wrong-footed, near post, off to the corner, celebrate. Monterey Bay has their goal here in the first half.
That instant replay is brought to you by Ivan's Baked Potatoes. And it's another healthy goal brought to you by Taylor Farms. 5th of the year for Sam Gleedle in the 23rd minute. And he had a huge finish at the end of last year. 5 goals in his last 9 games. He's trending that way now. Kept away from Damas.
It all comes down to decision making, as we're just talking about it, Mike. Because so many times in the center midfielder, you have to pick and choose when to dictate tempo, when to have the ball circulation, but also when to go and just when to play direct. When you have the speed, you have the verticality.
Ball in front, asking questions through Damas.
On either side of Okoli. Puts a lot of pressure on opposing back lines because they need to make a decision. Do we stay centrally with Okoli or do we go with the runners? Transition moment was a key for Nate Miller. That's how you can see it here on the road.
Monterey Bay perfect in the 3 previous instances this year that they've scored the opener at home. To be fair, they've only done it 3 times. San Diego, 1-4-3. Damas, there's Roberts, 1-4-3 this year when they concede the opening goal on the road. However, they've gotten a result half the time.
I do think it's going to be very interesting just to reaction now from the Loyal. I do think for Nate Miller, it all comes down to that middle 3 to dictate once again. Take the win out of the sails, the confidence of Monterey Bay. Conway's going to have a very big say in that, playing in those half pockets, and then you have Ronaldo Damas making those runs. So far, the back three has answered every single question asked of them for Monterey Bay.
Guzman. Stoneman. Trying to go through Damas again. Really throws his body around. Header smashed up field. Walmer Martinez closes that down.
I think it's so interesting. You look at both of these sides, Monterey Bay, just to balance on the front line. Okoli, target man, likes to build his back to goal. So who's going to make those runs? It's going to come from wide areas, right? Slop on the other side for San Diego. You have Ronaldo Damas making those vertical runs, and then you have Evan Conway playing in those half pockets to draw out one of those center backs. So you have balance in your own right there. It's very different in the way that both of these teams play, but also very effective in their own rights.
Adams. Herrera crashes down. More importantly, kept the ball because there was not a foul. Ivan's baked potatoes will show you how.
Really good ball in from Charlie Adams, but as a goalkeeper, how decisive are you coming off your line, especially with the contact on the back end of things?
You know, Ricky, to your point, San Diego is so much of a motion. I know I'm acting as a layman here. It's a motion offense. Everyone's constantly moving. The rotation is constant. Even their shape rotates naturally. This sends Gleedle chasing, and Guzman brings it down. Feels like Monterey Bay's front three. You know exactly what you're going to get, but there's a reason. There's a reason it's been effective. It can be brutally effective. Everyone knows the role and responsibility.
I do think that's the key, right, for both of these sides. You talk about San Diego Loyal, yes, it's in motion, yes, there's different look, but everyone knows what the role is in certain looks, right? Even the build-out phase, middle third phase, final third, what do we look like? What areas do we want our players to arrive in? And for Monterey Bay, maybe not as much motion and rotation on the front line, but picking and choosing, and it all comes down to decision-making for players. You talk about Baca understanding time and space on the field, where the space is, who's going to make that direct run, and executes it to perfection for Monterey Bay. So if you're Frank Yallop, yeah, you haven't had most of the ball, but as players are right around the corner, it's all about that balance. Getting 3 points is the main goal here.
It's going to loop in. Two players fell down, so Conway is going to take the space. Roberts ran into Green, or vice versa. Conway. For the first time, Conway making that heavy horizontal run across the top of the 18 actually went for goal. Couldn't steer it toward target. Conway knew he'd be offside there, doesn't even chase.
Just plays as like a number 10, Conway most of the time. Just so good at unbalancing, because then if you're Kai Green, you have to be very good at when you step off your line, you Roberts and Alex Lara have to have the ability to provide that coverage underneath. So I do think, how do you negate balls into him in those half pockets? James Murphy and Baca have to be very good, as when the ball passes by you, you have to have the ability to double down and do your defensive duties.
McCauley, the standing tackle on Martin. McCauley whips it across. It's Alex Dixon off the post, off Koke and out. It's a corner. It happens in no time at all.
Just so transitional, so instinctual, but if you're Colin Martin, you need to be stronger in this challenge. Good on Ugo Okoli to understand, if I drive centrally, it makes Riley make a decision. Do I stay wide? Do I stay centrally and compact with my back line? And that's where you want Alex Dixon. Head full of steam, so decisive, little drop of the shoulder. Just so unfortunate. Goalkeeper's best friend.
Murphy. Near post, it's away. Roberts chasing and cleared away from the line by Adams. That was a rocket across the 6-yard box. Koke did all he could. It fell right to Roberts.
I mean, how good of the set pieces have we seen, whether it is James Murphy or Charlie Adams, but give credit to Koke Vegas. So much traffic in front of him. He sees it late. He parries it centrally, which is not a big no-no for goalkeepers. And Charlie Adams, the leader, there to clean it up on the back post.
You know, I imagine from your position as a former striker, how many guys get caught ball watching, completely ignore Roberts once that ball gets touched, and don't stick their leg out like Conway just did.
100%. I mean, we see that
Not
every
that
single
you've ever
time.
done that. You've never done that.
I was always near post.
Yeah, okay.
For my size. There you go.
Yeah.
But so many times players get caught ball watching, but it's Nate Miller, Frank Gallup will be the first to tell you. And the loose ball is inside that 18-yard box. You have to get hand touch with your man, right? Because the space is not going to score a goal. A man's going to score the goal, simple enough. So give credit to Evan Conway, like you pointed out, Mike. Terrific individual defending.
Is that what Nate told you when he was coaching you? Space doesn't score the goal, a man scores the goal? I like that.
There you go. I don't know. I'll give credit to Nate Miller. I don't know if it was from him, but we'll say it's from him.
Yeah, okay. All down the line, away from Dixon. We can tell you don't want to miss a minute of the action in 2023. The clubs on the road or at home catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN+. It's the home for USL, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today, plus.espn.com. Baca slides did just enough to keep that off Damas. Damas is buzzing tonight. Adams. He'll send Conway sprinting. Lara runs it back to Herrera. Baca, Gleedle, covered by San Diego.
Gleedle has the cleaner first touch there. Monterey Bay is in business because Baca, as he takes that touch horizontally, it makes Colin Martin and Charlie Adams step off their line.
Ball tapped through. Damas is available. It was a tad behind, and Donor out to touch. Well, Baca showing his veteran presence. He is frustrated at how that was defended. I mean, that dude was playing the Azteca like 4 months ago.
Crazy.
Not to knock anyone who comes through this league, but I mean, Baca's been through the battles, but he was through them this calendar year. Bodily. Did that stay in? It did. Perez. Undeterred. Perez, a tight angle. Herrera, the save. And it is forced out over the line, and Damas did well to shield that into a set piece.
A little bit of skill in the back end here from Adrian Perez, but you have to give credit to Walmer Martinez. He knows he's beat. He doesn't try to recover and put in a rash challenge. Perez tries to be a bit clever and tries to wrong foot Herrera to that near post. Big time save. And like you said, Mike, Ronaldo Damas is just so opportunistic. A fox in the box, his movement. Shields off Lara and a corner kick.
Bagel corner kick. Header down away from the line. My gosh, it is inches from the line, and got off the scalp of Conway and over the bar.
If you're Nate Miller, you have to be frustrated not to have the ability just to execute and find the back of the net. First it's Riley, and then it's Evan Conway. Just comes in a bit too quick to get his body underneath him. But how that ball does not end up in the back of the net.
Baked potatoes.
Back end of it, you're Frank Gallup. That's a secondary corner kick that you've given a clear-cut opportunity for San Diego to find their goal.
sure there's some that just stick in your nightmares. That one could be one. That's a free kick for Monterey Bay. Dixon coming off the right side in this instance.
Just no need. If you have a Conway, a lot of orange jerseys around you as you lunge in. The experience of Alex Dixon, he's always going to make the most of it and go down. This is going to be very interesting now for Koke Vegas, because if you're James Murphy, you're aiming for right between that 6-yard box and penalty mark to create havoc and chaos. A lot of traffic oncoming towards the goal mouth. So for a goalkeeper, how decisive are you coming off your line? You don't want to get caught in no man's land here.
Murphy offering, header snapped in! There's the second for Monterey Bay, Alex Lara! Monterey Bay feeling right at home in Seaside tonight.
Set pieces, you expect quality, especially when James Murphy is on it, but where's the defending on the back post? Lack thereof, that's not X and O's. That's just willingness to not lose your individual battle. When you give a play of the quality of Alex Lara, that time and space, free header, is never gonna miss. Monterey Bay double their lead here from the center back.
37th minute. They love his box defending, but how about his box scoring? 14th appearance, and the center back has bagged 2 goals this year. And just his 9th start now since they've gone to this 3-back. And San Diego has quite the hole to try and dig out of. And what's worse, this 3-game road trip on paper, go all the way to the East Coast, see Charleston. Then you see Louisville City a week later. So you fly all the way back west, come east again. Louisville's not an easy place to get. You feel like you played a great second half, but you lose your second in a row. You're shut out twice in a row. Nate Miller talks about the pride they have in being able to score and play entertaining football. For whatever reason, they weren't quite able to get one over the line in those 2. Then you go direct from Louisville here to this midweek game out in Seaside. You're playing on an unfamiliar surface. The temperature has changed in your last 3 games from the mid-90s into the 60s. And now you're 2 goals down before halftime. Bodily slips ahead. Damas was offside. And it looked like a really tough road trip on paper. I don't think anybody would have thought San Diego could be staring down the barrel of coming away with no points.
I do think it's a very important remainder of this game for Nate Miller and the San Diego Loyal side. It's exactly what you just mentioned, but you talk about playoffs right around the corner as well. Dig down deep and have a bit of character to grind out a result here. Talk about every decision matters, defensively, offensively. Conway, a bit of a rash challenge. Now you're sitting in a big hole to climb out of 2-0 on the road against Monterey Bay. That's extremely explosive. So as you try to throw numbers forward and try to get that opening goal, you leave yourself a lot of real estate on the back end of it. So all about balance for Nate Miller as well.
Guzman. Liedl is 5th of the year. Lara, 2nd of the year, is 2nd in the last 2 games. This dude's got 2 goals in the last 65 game minutes. A totally unmarked header at the back post on a free kick from Murphy in the 37th. Stone man. Stoneman again. You know, it was interesting talking to Nate about watching him grow from a kid relative in Lansing being a man now. You know, he brought some players along to me from that Lansing team that folded after 1 year. And you were there at the start of that season, Ricky. I mean, we've seen them become legitimate championship players in no time at all. It's outside to Camden Riley. Tries to put Dixon in the blender. Easier said than done. Ball whisked into the penalty area. Ball brought down, and Herrera meets the shot.
A lot of pace behind this from Joe Corona. Good first touch, to be fair, but straight at Herrera on the back end. Going to your point about Tumi Moshaban and Grant Stillman, the talent was always there. The question I think Nate Miller had them was about the mentality, right? Because you have, yes, the level rises from League One to Championship, but also how do you deal with different adversities? Because so many times when you're a young player, if you have a bad game, if you don't see the field as much as you would like, it really plays into maybe your habits. Week comes across, training week comes across, you don't want to put the fourth effort because you're still frustrated. But as a professional footballer, every time you walk across that white line, it's a showcase to yourself why you deserve to be in the starting 11, 18, and also just the investment that's worth it for this club. And I do think that's a progression that we've seen from Tumi Moshaban and Grant Stillman. Good on Nate Miller for believing in them as well.
Good on Donor getting this forward. Ultimately donated the ball to San Diego. Adams won a free kick. Approaching halftime here tonight in Seaside. Big switch hit by Corona. First header's away. Riley at the back of Dixon. That's enough to draw a whistle. Turns out you and I are just calling all the big goal scoring games tonight. Sacramento, New Mexico approaching halftime. They're scoreless. Phoenix and Indy have kicked off 10 minutes ago. That game is scoreless.
Talk about the turnaround for Phoenix Rising as well. Wow.
You know, Monterey Bay coming off that really shaky run June, July, winning 4 straight. Fantastic. What Phoenix has done to turn their season around. Orange County, too.
Incredible.
What we had in June versus what we have now is like bizarro world. I can't quite put my finger on it.
I also think every single coach in the USL Championship, especially in this Western Conference, will tell you how tight it is. You win a string of 2, 3, 4 games, your playoff picture can change drastically, and that's exactly what we've seen. Phoenix Rising, but even Orange County. I mean, we had Richard Chappell when he was at the helm there, struggling at the moment. Mark Carlson didn't get off to the best start. As of late, cannot put a foot wrong.
No. Win streak finally snapped. They turn around, won another one. So they've won 9 of 10. This ball chested down and flicked away. You know, I spoke with Nate Miller ahead of their last national TV game. And he said at the time, that's the 2-7 matchup. If I finish second, I see Phoenix. Guzman seeking the back post, and the header is lifted over the line and in. San Diego rips one back just minutes away from halftime.
Ball rotates over, but if you're Herrera, you need to be a bit more decisive coming off your line. Guzman puts the ball into a dangerous area. Yes, it's a bit of confusion between Roberts. I think it's Adrian Perez on the back end of it. But I think if you're Frank Yalp, how cheaply you give away this goal. As a goalkeeper, you're known, you're taught. You step off your line, you take out anyone in front of you, whether it is your teammate, whether it is the opposition. That little bit of confusion as Evan Conway makes that darting run. And they concede. San Diego are right back into this game.
And meanwhile, a chance at the near post that Koke parries down. So Perez has his 7th of the season. He has had an enormous campaign. I feel like I've called all 7 of those goals. 2 added minutes at the end of the first half. And that's a foul. That's going to come with a card. Top pocket, that's a yellow, and a very...
A yellow card has been issued to San Diego Loyal number 17, Colin Martin.
It's gone to Martin. The way he lifted that card, my goodness. A little extra in that.
I'll tell you what, he gets a lot of the ball. I do think
that gif is forever.
Came horizontally, and then he had the quick rotation to the vertical yellow card.
Wow.
Looking back at that challenge, he does get to the ball first, but I do think his studs are exposed, catches him in trouble. So now on a yellow card, playing centrally in this match. A big challenge in terms of his discipline and his positioning for the experienced Colin Martin.
Alvin Rivas just pulled out the Eucharist out here. Goodness gracious.
You have to make sure it was the right color before flexing it.
Was a flex, huh? San Diego, an enormous goal before halftime. All of a sudden, it just all feels open here. All the while, Monterey Bay could strike right back. Dixon left that behind Gleedle. He recovers. Ball teed up by Okoli. Baca sidesteps out of the reach of Okoli and right to Koke.
You just see on the back end of it, Murphy just barking at Okoli. Takes it right off of his foot. Murphy was about to hit it first time.
And there's halftime. A little bit of housekeeping here. Colin Martin's yellow will see him suspended for accumulation for their home game against Las Vegas next week. Gleedle scores in the 23rd minute. Lara follows with a header in the 37th. Adrian Perez says, not so fast in the 44th.
I do think if you're Nate Miller, you have to be pleased with how you respond, but the goals that you concede, very frustrating. Monterey Bay, first 10 to 15 minutes. If you can get that third goal, it'll be game over.
Tonight's halftime is presented by Integris Wealth Management. Monterey Bay leads 2-1. Halftime is coming up next.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
Tonight's halftime is presented by Integris Wealth Management. It's also brought to you by that tasty treat. Monterey Bay 2, San Diego 1 here at Cardinale Stadium with Ricky, Mike. There's so much action to catch you up on. We're going to take you somewhere else and show you action that occurred elsewhere earlier in the week. What if I told you Tulsa beat Oakland? Okay, that's fine. What if I told you there's a little history to that? What if I told you that 3 players in this game can't feature in the next game because 1 got an accumulation suspension and 2 got tossed? This is a rarity, Ricky.
There were just so many yellow cards in this game. It was mind-boggling. Everything was a yellow card. You talk about the 5th time in USL Championship, 3rd time this season that more than 10 yellow cards we're seeing. You see Lindo's red card there. Very rash, but on the back end of it, you talk about FC Tulsa, Blair Gavin. What a win this was for them. Playoff hunt, this is just mind-boggling how this was a yellow card on Philip Goodrum. Pablo Anchet leans into him. Very interesting. And so many times Philip Goodrum is probably the instigator. Here, he's innocent.
And that actually got him suspended for their next match.
And then here we see Marcus Absi. Kind of red there. Brian Tamakis and him on the far end, but it was just colors galore between these two sides. But nonetheless, Tulsa, big 3 points.
More colors, Roots jerseys or out of the referee's pocket. With that in mind, Monterey Bay is going to see Oakland on the road this coming weekend.
And then after that, against this Loyal side again, at San Diego. So it's going to be very interesting for Frank Yalb. Again, how do you get it done on the road? Because we talk about how tight around this playoff line this Western Conference is, but you're going to Oakland Roots, who are in desperate need of 3 points as well. San Diego Loyal and at Birmingham. That one's going to be very interesting. You're going cross conference, and then Orange County, a team that Mark Carlson has firing on all cylinders.
And Linda Mafeko, you saw get the red card unavailable for that game. Here's what's coming up for San Diego. They get the glory of Las Vegas at home, then Monterey Bay at home. And look, if you don't start picking up the commensurate points to hold on to the top 4, that Oakland game on October 7th might be the last one at Torero Stadium.
And it's so interesting because years ago, Oakland Roots came into Torero Stadium in a playoff situation and won, right? So you have a little bit of history there. Neil Delgado's going to have that motivation to go on the road and get things done. But I do think if you're Nate Miller, this next 45, it starts here, right? And then you play Las Vegas twice. I think that's a major 6-point swing.
What a weird 6-game stretch. Vegas twice and Monterey Bay twice. Who would have thunk? Monterey Bay leads San Diego 2-1. And tonight's halftime is presented by Integris Wealth Management. Highlights coming up.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean-fresh, sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Let's take a look at news and notes from the USL Championship and beyond. Albert Dequa and Daniel Trejo are on 17 goals apiece. Manuel Arteaga not far behind on 15. Who's your favorite to win the Golden Boot?
Danny Trejo. I do think that Phoenix Rising, the way that they're playing, the way that he gets in those half pockets and beyond, I think he's going to take it away.
But if you consider that Albert Dequa could get 5 penalties down the stretch.
And Albert Dequa.
Yeah, contemplate. All right, Paul the Wall has crossed 100 saves, and he's got a ways left to go here for Oakland. All the while, 24 days remaining in the championship's regular season, with the final coming November the 12th. You'll see it live from wherever it is on ESPN2. Look at the USL schedule. There's a lot going on here on Saturday. You'll see it all on ESPN Plus. In the Western Conference, that switchbacks game has meaning for definitely Monterey Bay. If San Diego comes back and wins it, there's certainly a lot more on the line with the Sacramento side of that matchup. It's the one I'm most intrigued to watch. You?
I think especially on this Western Conference, but for the Eastern Conference, you have FC Tulsa going to the Charleston Battery. I do think Ben Pierman, what does that look like at home? But for Blair Gavin, you talk about them, Detroit, and Miami now, since they won tonight, fighting for that last playoff spot. So I do think that's a massive game for FC Tulsa.
So that's a look at the schedule that's coming up, which isn't to say we haven't had plenty of scores to talk about as well. Take a look back to Sunday. RGV, big upset win over Birmingham, keeping their season alive here out west. The stunner, number 10 Miami, very much still alive in the Eastern Conference. They equalized 3 separate times and scored the winner in the 86th.
And just talk about the quality of goals in that game. It was spectacular. Wilson Harris got a goal. Joaquin Rivas got a brace. Sean Tosh got a brace. Just incredible. Miami, massive 3 points.
Well, there's plenty of fish in the sea, but we're glad you chose this one. Monterey Bay 2, San Diego 1. Integris Wealth Management has presented this halftime.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean-fresh, sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
Welcome back. I want to be in this party. We are in this party. Welcome back to Seaside. Monterey Bay A 2-1 lead over San Diego. Still 45 minutes to play and a lot to catch you up on. So let's take you on a journey. A journey through the first half. Monterey Bay held decent possession in the early going, but it was the couple counter-attacking moments that set them apart. Donor kept it alive, and then this ball from Baca opens it up.
And it's what we talked about. Transition moments was always going to be key for Monterey Bay. And the play that we highlighted in the open, Baca, the decision-making to understand Sam Greedle. He's going to run, he's going to be vertical, he's going to test the shape of San Diego Loyal. You get him higher and behind, clinical finish up to the corner, celebrate. But Monterey Bay, that second goal was always going to be so important. Good on Sean Okoli to drive centrally and put it out into Alex Dixon. Set pieces, Mike, they were really important in this first half, whether it was San Diego, whether it was Monterey Bay. But the inability to be clinical for the Loyal, shot them in the foot. Silly free kick on the back end. Lack of marking, you just see the sea of orange jerseys, ball watching on their heels. That man makes no mistake about the finish.
And so the second goal in as many games for Alex Lara. San Diego would get something here right before halftime that changes the whole tenor from here.
Yeah, just a bit of confusion between Herrera and Hughes, but give credit to Conway and give credit to Adrian Perez. Crashes on that back post, and what an important goal that was for San Diego Loyal.
And San Diego possessed 70% of the ball, and Monterey Bay is out here looking for those countering moments that San Diego is so concerned about. They've together thrown 17 punches at target in this game. And Monterey Bay, a 2-1 lead at halftime. Monterey Bay has only lost once this year when leading at halftime, 6-1-0. San Diego has not won from a trailing halftime position. They have clawed back 3 draws in the 10 previous occasions, 0-7-3. There's the whistle from our very dramatic referee, and on we go to the second half here in Seaside. Ricky's beside me, motioning. If you missed this yellow card, look, Colin Martin's not going to find this funny at all while he's sitting for this next game against Las Vegas, but I mean,
the way that you received that yellow card.
I'd like to hope it makes up for some of it. Goodness gracious. McCauley stabs it down and has won a free kick off Martin.
I think he's been very good for Monterey Bay, especially in the first half. Doesn't have to have a lot of the ball.
No subs at halftime, which feels like far more important information. Murphy, header snap back across, steered away. Gleedle was coming up for it, comes down to Murphy. That's out past Green, but Donor whips it across. Roberts was still forward, appealed for a handball. That's out for a throw. Ball across, asking Gleedle for just a little tap over the line. Instead, it is out for a corner.
Beagle corner kick.
Let's go back for just a moment. This feels important. Sergio Rivas, this man was the referee for the 10 yellow card game. Do you know how much practice he got? We showed you highlights at halftime and we didn't even notice.
That was he was so focused, the way that he starts horizontally.
Bagel corner kick. I mean, just the intensity with which he ripped that out of his pocket.
Just to focus on it, did not break eye contact. It's one of those staring games that who's gonna blink first.
I need an official for World Cup final. I know my man. Wow. Melvin Rivas. His wife is watching this game right now going, never seen someone so infatuated. Stoneman
Good ball.
Able to pick through that midfield. Perez spotted the overlap of Corona, instead crossed by Riley. Riley back down the right side. Perez has a goal tonight, walks this in. Colin Martin, he thought he spotted the keeper off his line, and Herrera looked a little chaotic getting back and ended up falling into the net in the process.
You just see the overloads that are created for San Diego Loyal. That's one of your 3 center backs making an overlapping run, so it puts a lot of pressure on Alex Dixon. As after that far post, just a bit too much weight on it. But you talk about the fluidity that Nate Miller likes to play. You push Koke Vegas, who is your goalkeeper, higher. That gives you the real estate to have those outside backs of the 3-back system play as really big fullbacks. There's a lot of pressure on the wide areas, and I do think it's been really important for San Diego Loyal here.
Dixon contorts back to the touchline as Walmer Martinez behind him. Martinez works the give and go to perfection off Gleedle. Spots the option wide. Navigating Dixon. Good leading touch. Dixon to the near post. Vegas never needed to get a touch.
Really good passage of play for Monterey Bay, but look at the bottom of your screen. As Baca is just barking for this ball, it really makes Colin Martin step off his line, and as he steps off his line, that opens up this passing lane into Alex Dixon. Great directional first touch to create separation, but just pulls it just a tad bit wide of that near post.
Riley. Riley cuts in. Slips through Perez. Save Herrera. And steers it back well atop the 18. That is a 25-yard ricochet. Stoneman. You know what's devastating? People are listening to this game. They didn't even see the ref give that yellow. If you can't watch the match, turn on SiriusXM FC 157. North America's only home for engaging soccer talk. Includes USL All Access on Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern. Plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, EPL, and more. It's all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SXM app. Here's a look. Of this, of course.
Really good passage of play. Here's Riley, just spins and turns. But if you're Alex Dixon, you cannot turn off mentally. You have to stay like for like with Adrian Perez. Good strike, but straight at the goalkeeper, Herrera. That man has to be very pleased with the 6 minutes coming out of the break. They've been on the ball and asking all sorts of questions of the opposition.
Temperatures have dipped into the 50s now. If you're watching from home, it is now puffy coat weather. Perez. Sees that big diagonal. Opens up play. Adams. Bodley. Inside from Perez, kept by Corona. What a stunning career Joe Corona's had. Big bounce, Baca. Still work to be done. Kept away from Dixon. Perez nearly dragged that to a really dangerous spot. Monterey Bay the other way. Thomas did well to close it down.
And it's that counter press that Nate Miller was talking about. You don't have it in the first half, you get punished for it. Really good play there. Ronaldo Damas and Joe Corona just to close down Alex Dixon, not to give him the time and space to pick up his head and play this ball forward into Hugo Okoli.
Perez. Might be with Perez on this. I mean, the way that flag was majestically lifted. Perez. That falls for Corona if Roberts didn't arrive in time. Koke. Big switch. Perez deadens the ball, walks it in. Martinez shoved off. Down to the halfway line, Guzman. To find out who Ringo is in this stadium tonight. Someone's been banging this drum brilliantly well. The star of this show.
Just see how compact Monterey Bay is in the defensive structure. And that, I think if you're Frank Yalp, that's exactly what you want. You can let San Diego Loyal have the ball, let them go around you, but never through you. Before it's a turnover, your first look needs to be forward into the path of Okoli.
Header smashed the other way. Corona got a piece. Now leads the charge for the orange-clad San Diego. Corona, part two, back post. There's contact. San Diego is barking for a penalty. Damas never let his guard down, plays it back in. Monterey Bay clear it. San Diego, lest we forget, inches from the goal line. Conway ultimately put the ball over the bar. Could just as easily be level in this game. Martin. What a brilliant orchestrator he's been. Riley, now Perez. Scored in the 44th. Damas scraping to try and get to the ball. Comes up to Baca. Martinez, Okoli, nearly Gleedle. If he gets any touch on that, he's off to the races.
Exactly what Monterey Bay is looking for. You have Okoli staying high. He's going to occupy whether it is Stillman or any of the other two center backs.
Perez. Perez! Herrera! That is world-class stuff. What an effort by Perez. Herrera saves Monterey Bay.
And he's been the best player on the field in this second half. Adrian Perez knows exactly what he wants to do before he gets the ball. Give credit to this run from Riley. A little bit of hesitation for Wilmar Martinez. Adrian Perez tries to pick out that top corner, but a fantastic save from Herrera.
Adams will get another go. Another bagel corner kick. Damas was saying, shouldn't there be a yellow for the tug that made me stop my run on the initial service through that he eventually recycled back the other way. Adams. Stoneman was held off by Kai Green. Baca couldn't hold on. Adams drops it back. Numbers still forward for the Loyal. Adams. Ball ricochets away. That was Lara. San Diego is going to bring absolutely everything in this second half, kitchen sink included. Pocket got closed down. Hugh Roberts is a long way from home. He's won the ball, and he begins upfield. Down the line, and that's staying for Dixon. It didn't. That's every center back's dream being lived out.
But give credit to Hugh Roberts, understanding in front of him, if I step off my line, I need to win this ball. Because if I don't, I'm getting caught out, and there's a hole behind me. Wins the ball. Oh, the cleanliness. Passes into Alex Dixon. But I do think if you're James Murphy and Rafael Baca, two center midfielders for Monterey Bay, you need to be very decisive when you step off your line. And if one of them do, the other one needs to stay home. Because the overloads that San Diego Loyal like to implement, especially in center channels, can give them a lot of success trying to find this equalizer here.
Half an hour to play. Monterey Bay 3 points off San Diego to tie for 5th. The first tiebreaker is head-to-head. These teams will see each other again in 10 days' time. Damas goes to ground once more. And a fresh coat of ref edge. Martinez intervenes. Perez, Corona. Speared on by Riley. Martinez swiped it off of Perez. Conway. Adams, Martin. Kept away from Conway. Chance to counter got broken up, but Adams, not sure what he's really supposed to do there, which is his argument. Let's tell you that the USL is celebrating Hispanic Latino Heritage Month with stories, events, and more, bringing to life this special celebration across the league. Go to uslsoccer.com/Hispanic-heritage to learn more. The wiggle of the flag, it's gone the other way.
I'll tell you what, I think Kai Green, the center of the back three for Monterey Bay, has been terrific. Just keeping Ronaldo Damas in check, staying like for like with the center forward, and it's never easy. How opportunistic Ronaldo Damas is, how good at picking and choosing when to pop in the hole, but also when to stretch in behind. The back line has been very, very good for Monterey Bay so far.
Down to Herrera. Who scoops it here from Monterey Bay. Want a run of wins here from Monterey Bay, trying to make it 5 in a row. If they do so, it's at the cost of San Diego dropping their 3rd straight, all on the road. That is an awkward giveaway in midfield. And they're going to pay the price with a set piece. One that'll see Corona quickly splay it out to Riley. And it got off the back heel of Perez. He's hardly put a foot wrong in these 20 minutes. That was the 1 foot. You can see Guido and Moshaban are waiting to come in. And for San Diego, you've kept it close, and you're bringing those two off the bench. All of a sudden, this feels like a very winnable game.
I do think if you're Nate Miller, the message that you're telling Moshaban and Guido is just we need more movement on the front line. We need to pull players out of position. One of the 3 center backs, make them chase you towards the corner flag to open up a gap for secondary movement. And the second thing I think of Nate Miller, the message is move the ball quicker. It needs to be 1-2 touch around the corner from left to right, make those gaps open up. And when those gaps open up, that's when we penetrate and we be ruthless in the attacking third.
Damas. Riley. Adams. Conway went down, and while he folded, the referee says play should continue. It's back into the width. Floated across. Roberts rose to the occasion. Free kick, San Diego. Essentially, it'll feel like a corner.
A nice little battle that we've had between Martinez and Perez on this near side. Players that are very similar in profile, left-footed by trait, want to get on the ball, want to make things happen. It's a bit overzealous here from Walmart Martinez. Just comes through the backside of Adrian Perez. Like you said, Mike, I do think you set this up defensively as a corner kick if you're Monterey Bay. And Charlie Adams, you're aiming for right the goal mouth with the traffic oncoming for Herrera.
Adams snared by Herrera. Looking to send Gleedle. Trying to spin free. Picks his head up, cuts inside. Martin wasn't able to take it away. It's Gleedle. Baca. Ball was spinning on him, sends it outside. Donor. And now Martin's got a hold. Damas. He's your counter-attacking wizard. Kai Green chopped him down. An arboreal tackle. Changes for San Diego. Guido replaces Martin, and Moshaban, who's one of the most exciting players in the league, off the bench to replace Damas. It's a rough way for Damas to conclude his night.
Fantastic. individual challenge from Kai Green, like for like I mentioned with Ronaldo Damas. Needs to get that challenge right, and he does just that. But now Mo Shaban, talk about a player that at 7 goals, 3 assists on the season, can create something out of nothing, beat you 1v1, can beat you through combination play. The question is for Nate Miller is how quickly can he get in rhythm and get him confident higher up the field.
Martin again off here in the 68th minute. His next game will be at Torero against Monterey Bay in 10 days. He cannot feature due to yellow card accumulation against Vegas. San Diego has had over 70% of the ball in the half. They've completed over 500 passes, blazing by their season average. They've attempted 20 crosses. That's more than their average. There's still 20 minutes to go.
It's interesting, Mike. Yes, you talk about the dominance that they're on the ball, but how many times have they really tested Herrera in the second half? And I do think that's the next step for Nate Miller, because yes, you want to play beautiful football, but you also want to play effective football, right? Especially with playoffs right around the corner. How do you put more pressure on opposing goalkeepers? That's going to be the next step for this Loyal side.
2 changes. Gleedle comes off. Chase Boone is back in the team. That's good news. He's been dealing with a lingering injury that left him outside of the lineup for Monterey Bay against Las Vegas. And Revelar comes in to replace James Murphy. Boone always gets big applause here in Seaside. Revelar played on this campus for Cal State Monterey Bay, 4-time all-conference. Ball lofted into the penalty area. Chance to whisk this back in front. Falls, blasted wide. And Perez that close to leveling the score.
You whip this ball in, and good things will happen. Who's going to be proactive? Who's going to be the first to anticipate as this ball falls extremely nice to Adrian Perez? He does everything right. Controls it down with his chest, but just a timing a tad bit early. Least preferred right foot, sends it wide. Monterey Bay get away with one.
And Conway would have been onside with the 3 players on the goal line if he had just gotten a moderate touch to that and steered it. Not that that's an easy play, but it's been that close tonight for San Diego. This game can be so beautiful and yet so fickle. Revelar kept it moving. Boone sizing up. Dixon got swarmed and taken away by Perez. Got by Baca and stabbed away by Martinez. Baca pumps the brakes. He knows the moment.
Better individual defending there from Riley, not to give any sort of lane for Alex Dixon, and then you allow Adrian Perez to come down and do the double team to force a turnover, because we saw a similar instance in that first half. Alex Dixon had so much time to make his decision. Better adjustment from this right back for the Loyal side.
Lidl in the 23rd, Lara in the 37th, Perez in the 44th. San Diego has largely owned this second half. They have double the expected goals tonight. All the while, Phoenix is doing nothing to help their case. Just 2 points above San Diego in 4th. Scoreless at halftime against Indy 11. Thrust down the line. Riley cutting. Martinez angling this out, and that is a corner. A bagel corner kick. Murphy for the near post effort, this time Baca. Perez pokes it forward. Riley was still forward in that instance. And Herrera Time through the hourglass. This win, Monterey Bay would slide into 5th and be just 3 points off Phoenix if the 2 remaining Western Conference games remain the same. Sacramento would move 4 points clear of San Antonio for 1st. Still be a few points off the top overall seed. That'd be Pittsburgh. Much consternation with San Diego, and Okoli's out here saying should go another way. That's restraint from my man. No yellow. Just giving that wrist a break.
The flick of the wrist?
With a flick of the wrist.
Monterey Bay FC substitution.
Glasser will replace Alex Dixon. And with 15 minutes to go, it's time to start contemplating the end game here if you're Frank Yallop.
I thought he was good, Alex Dixon, here tonight. Very busy on the ball. Worked extremely hard on both sides, defensively, offensively, always a threat going forward. He's been stuck on 11 goals to assists this season for quite some time now. I do think if you're Frank Yallop, it all comes down to game management now. Approaching 15+ minutes left. We switch into a 4-back system. Glasser's going to play on the right-hand side. It just seemed like Chase Boone's going to switch over to the left-hand side. And I do think centrally now, Rebilar and Baca. Baca needs to stay home just a tiny bit more. Rebilar give him the license to roam a bit higher and play that support system underneath Okoli.
Riley. Perez sends this toward Conway. Green. Glasser. Okoli spots the wide run. Drops it in a bucket. Guzman able to spin back around Glasser and pick it up.
I think more now than ever now for Sean Okoli. Time winding down here for Monterey Bay. A big challenge for him. Just how good can his hold-up play be? Haven't seen much of the ball under a lot of pressure. So when you get on the ball to relieve that pressure, invite some contact, invite some players in an orange jersey around you, and then lay it off at the right time to the ongoing runners, which will be Glasser and Chase Boone. You just want your number 9 just to be a focal point to see this game out.
Ball across toward Conway. Roberts. The ultimate air defense.
And he needs to make a timely challenge. Hugh Roberts here, because you see Evan Conway, he just drifts off the shoulder and is just begging for this ball to bypass Hugh Roberts there at the doorstep. Terrific positioning from the center back.
Bagel corner kick. Murphy, back post. Steered out Glasser. Rebilar. That's going to deflect all the way back to Herrera. Looked overcooked, but it is siphoned the touchline. Keep Monterey Bay a rare spell of possession. Is this 5 wins in a row for Monterey Bay? Boone got a piece. Okoli tried to snare it. Guido couldn't get it away. Boone. That was blocked, and now Guido does the job. Martinez. Spots Revelar coming around the outside. Ball through in the middle. And that would have been just a massive moment for Okoli. It's still Martinez. Lays this off. Glasser deflecting into the waiting grasp of Koke, who goes down and quickly distributes. And they can really fly with Moshabon. There he goes. Conway in the width. Moshabon on the other end. Play stopped. Player down. That's Adams. He's already taken the armband off.
Number 6, Charlie Adams. Entering the match, number 50, Xavi Nalati.
Nalati comes in off the bench. The San Diego native, his 4th appearance for his hometown club. Debuted in the Open Cup last year. And the loyal select player, part of what once was deemed a really bright future for that San Diego Academy. Regrettably, that future will have to come elsewhere for Nalati moving forward. Seeing time here while this San Diego team is just hampered by a number of injuries. The 18-year-old gets a big moment here. Donor!
Monterey Bay's having a lot of success starting on one side of the field and ending on the other side, changing the point of attack. When you have wingbacks like Maury Donor, he has a license to pick and choose when he goes forward and when he stays home. Good strike. And always rising across that crossbar. You can suck in this San Diego Loyal side to one side of the field. There's always going to be green grass on the off weekend. Who's going to have the ability to pick up their head and play a player in for Frank Yallop as you try to see this game out.
The sides will meet in 10 days. Each team won the home game last year in the series. Riley picks his head up. Conway running in behind. Roberts clears. Perez ran it to the line. That did stay in. Boone brought down by Riley. That's a three-step simple raise card. 7 out of 10.
There's no need to leave your feet there if you're Riley. On horizontally, and you just see an exquisite yellow card given.
Ball in behind, Conway. Foot race, Kai Green. Moshabun. Corona. Guido. That's gonna stay in. Chance for a service. Perez got beneath it. About to be 7 wild minutes and an indeterminate swath of stoppage time. San Diego forcing Monterey Bay back into their own end here. Boone couldn't strip it. Nalati could go no further. Okay, ran right up to Ugo Okoli. There's not another keeper in the league I'd trust with that. Boone. Foul from Guido. Sub's gonna come right here. That's it for Camden Riley. He's on a yellow card. They'll get in an additional set of fresh legs here. It's only the second window utilized. It's Morgan Hackworth coming in off the bench for his 14th appearance, his 13th as a sub. You want to talk about a guy who's just done whatever the club needed at any point in time. There are a lot of ways you can impact the culture of a club, and Morgan Hackworth has done it in more ways than one. Stoneman, let's tell you, eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team. Play as your favorite USL Championship club. It's free to play. Download now. Some of those bus arrival shots in those are too realistic for me. Perez turns down the overlap from Hackworth. Perez to the backside, in the air, Green. Green won a foul.
He's been so good, Kai Green. Timely challenges, decisive, and exactly what you want from a center back. But equally as good on this near side has been Adrian Perez. He's been putting a lot of pressure on this Monterey Bay back line. You see Kai Green, his body position is right, rises up. And Lottie just takes him up, out underneath, tabletops him. I do think if you're Monterey Bay, you have to look at Hugh Roberts, Kai Green, and Alex Lara. Three-man center back system. It really changed a lot for Frank Yelp in Monterey Bay as of late.
Glasser. Into the penalty area. Okay, Vegas. Monterey Bay grabbed 2 goals in the first half in a 14-minute span. Gleedle and Lara. Perez responded right before halftime for San Diego, and Loyal have been on the hunt for the equalizer ever since. This is one of those famed 6-point games. Monterey Bay could catch San Diego and move into 5th with a victory tonight, and the sides will meet again next weekend. That'll come at Torero Stadium in San Diego. Hackworth. Perez. Guido. Corona splits this across. Donor squats in. Guzman working off Bodley. Bodley off the head of Roberts. Second go a bit further, Revelar. Coley tried to hold it up and ultimately did. Ceded possession back to Corona. Conway, if he can get there. Coley did everything he could to hold that down. Advantage play, ball through from Baco. Coley Okoli got this to the backside, header down. Oh, it's over the bar. Dagger retracted.
Just mentioned, Okoli needs to be very strong at letting the play develop with the oncoming runs off of his shoulder. But how good is this ball? He knows Guzman's going to go down to feet. It's the extra pass from Glasser as a back line for the Loyal. They're retreating. Where's the real estate? The cutback ball from Rebelart. And 5 yards out. That needs to end up in the back of the net and put the nail in the coffin here. Hope if you're Frankie up, that does not come back. What a brilliant opportunity that was for Adrian Rebelart.
Monterey Bay came back from 2 goals down against Las Vegas last time out. Their biggest comeback win. 2-goal lead tonight. Can they just take this to the line? Hackworth throws it back in play. Buckle up, stoppage time is incoming. Long ball down the flank. Donor taking on 1v1. Ball across, and it's in! It's in! San Diego level! Do you believe this? Nalani! His first pro goal! That's one for San Diego! Stoppage time underway! What a moment!
How clinical can you be in both boxes, but give credit to Bodley. Sizes up, Donor knows exactly where he wants his ball. The run from Conway, they draw out the center backs from Monterey Bay. They're retreating, so the cutback ball, one of the most effective balls in all of football. And then you have the youngster, Nalati, arriving late. He sees the hole, clinical finish, back of the net, San Diego. They get their equalizer in minute 90.
Welcome to the pro game, Xavi. You've been around now a few years, but it's Nalati with an equalizer for San Diego. What an incredible moment for the Loyal. They've got their eye on something bigger now. Monterey Bay, attacking-wise, largely in neutral. They had their chance to end this a minute ago. They did not. Conway. Bouncing in Lara. Conway lost his footing. Moshaban couldn't take it back. San Diego have it with 100 ticks to go. Rolls on to Hackworth. Hackworth hangs this up too far. And out for a goal kick.
How big of a miss is that look now from Adrian Rebelart? Moments ago, 5 yards out. The inability to keep it underneath the crossbar. Such a fantastic ball in from Bodley. Because you want someone to make that near post run as a number 9. It's Evan Conway, that selfless running. It's expected from the target man. So as he makes that run, it pulls out Kai Green, Hugh Roberts, and Alex Lara. And you're asking for that secondary action. And it's the youngster, the sub coming in and making his impact felt. Terrific individual and team goal.
10th goal by a sub this year for San Diego. That's most in the league. Let's not forget, a point here for San Diego is also 2 points dropped by Monterey Bay. Huge in the standings. Maybe there's more. Final minute now. Corona went for glory. Heavy bounce off the turf. Perez lays it wide. Is there something really magical here for San Diego? Corona through, out to Hackworth. Hackworth chipping, Conway, save, foul up is in! Oh, he's done it again! Nalani the winner! A genuine San Diego miracle! Wow!
Patience, decision making. It's not on this left flank. Let's circulate the ball. Simple and efficient. But I do think if you're Frankie Yelp, you're going to be asking where's the marking, especially on the back post. But give credit to Morgan Hackworth. Put the ball in a dangerous area. Tell Evan Conway to go up and big it. And Herrera does everything right, pushes it wide, but it's asking for the back post defending, which is not there. And can he get his brace? Yes, he can, the youngster. You see what it means to him. You see what it means to every single player in a San Diego Loyal jersey. Out to the corner to celebrate. And he gives the Loyal a massive lead here on the road.
Of all the people, an academy kid. When San Diego started, you're talking about a 14, 15-year-old boy. He just scored a goal that will lead grown men to tears tonight. Could they possibly have turned this around? Boone asks for a free kick. That's it! Full time! San Diego! The biggest 3 points of their season on the road!
Monterey Bay FC 2, San Diego.
Unreal comeback! That is one of the most electric finishes in league history, and Monterey Bay is just utterly shell-shocked by the moment. They were nearly in 5th, and at the end of the night, they remain in 8th place. Wow. There's a whole wrap-up to this. We got a long way to go. It's coming up after this.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Really embrace these moments. Xavi Nalati just scored 2 goals in the final 4 minutes. San Diego, from the jaws of defeat, send home Monterey Bay supporters utterly gobsmacked. Take a look at the Western Conference now. Phoenix on 46 points. They are currently level with Indy. This includes that result. San Diego would jump them into 4th and home playoff position. They would be 1 point off Orange County for 3rd, while Monterey Bay was sitting in 5th 6 minutes ago. Now they're in 8th, and El Paso has a game in hand.
How things can change, how tight this playoff picture is in this Western Conference.
All right, here's the full-time highlights. The really simple of it: San Diego XG 2.53, Monterey Bay 0.96. Didn't matter. Gleedle putting Monterey Bay ahead.
And when you play effective football, you play direct football, you play Route 1 football. Or the question mark, Sam Gleedle, you give him the license to run and play direct. Terrific individual goal from the winger. And then it got worse for San Diego Loyal. Good ball in for Murphy, even better. Unmarked header on the back post from Alex Lara.
So 2-0 Monterey Bay. They look like they're going to own this night. Not so fast. Adrian Perez grabs a goal right before the break that sets the tone for what's to come.
Give credit to Perez, because so many times players just give up on the end of the back end of this play on the back post. Herrera, Kai Green, a little confusion. No one takes initiative. No one clears the line, and that man easy tap in. And we fast forward to minute 90. Nate Miller, he dips into his bench. He brings in the youngster Nalati, and it all comes down to Bake Volley, because watch this back line for Monterey Bay. They all retreat towards the goal line. Who's going to have that secondary option? And it's a youngster. Terrific goal.
You think Nalati's done. What an experience it is. 18 years old, game-tying goal. That's only the half of it tonight.
He can't do it again, can he? You have the decision-making, you have the patience and the brand of San Diego Loyal, but you have to give credit to one. Morgan Hackworth understands, I'm not going to play this ball into motion ball. I'm going to play it centrally. Evan Conway, powerful header. And it's that man once again, Mike Watts, the youngster. Nalati, brace on the day, giving San Diego Loyal a massive 3 points on the road.
Before we get to your thoughts here, Ricky, San Diego has won for the first time in 14 months, trailing away at halftime. Monterey Bay coughs up a 2-goal or more lead for the first time in franchise history. Chance for your final thoughts over the numbers.
And I do thought you talked to Frank Yallop, you talked to Nate Miller, you talk about, yes, you want to be effective, yes, you want to play your style of brand, but it's all down to grinding out results, especially when playoffs right around the corner. How can you be effective? How can you be clinical in both 18-yard boxes? For 90 minutes, Monterey Bay was so good defensively, but you just see the margins are so thin. You turn off for one mental lapse, you lose 3 points. San Diego, go back home. And your Nate Miller, you have to be very pleased with the youngster coming in and making his impact felt, and just a character-building win.
All right. The hero that Seaside deserves. No, it's not Melvin Rivas. Monterey Bay were up 2 goals, all smiles, and San Diego usurped it all. 3 unanswered, 1 before the half, 2 at the death from Xavi Nalati. For Ricky Lopez, Aspen, our entire team in Seaside and beyond, Mike Watts saying thanks for watching. Have a good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.